This is Weird Renegade Witches blog. Hit us up when you want some real motherfucking work done. Go to the Weird Renegade website. Of course, you will see the phone number, and you can hit me up in reference to questions and one-on-one lessons and weekly lessons, and of course, work. Because you already know that Wayward is about that revenge, redemption, responsibility. And you already know I told you Blog Talk Radio went out of business, so it's no use of me saying that. However, you already know that art imitates life, life imitates art, and art is occultism, and occultism is a motherfucking art. And I'm going to talk about random stuff that's just kind of been coming up in the universal soul, and we're just going to have a conversation because Black people are acting like they're in an IEP meeting. The social media, the entertainment, the celebrity, famous world act like it is the leader of Black people. So let's kind of see what the fuck is going on here and look at the universal soul, right? And look at the spell work and look at like, what the hell? I found something very interesting yesterday, and I'm just going to start here with it. So anyway, I was looking at some information on my laptop, and I was looking at a show that had some information in reference to as what they call brittle bones. So I paused it, writing down information because this is for a client of mine, and I was going to look up some information for her and forward it over to her, and then start from there with some research. And so, and that funny enough, I was looking at that crazy ass Real Housewives of Atlanta because somebody asked me to look at it so I could see Portia and that other girl eat slop food, you know, the grits and shrimp and salmon and grits, and they act like that's all we eat. So anyway, towards the end, it was talking about Kelly, and I guess Kelly almost got caught up with the police department and CPS because both of her children had brittle bones. So, and I know someone right now is a client of mine that's going through the same energy, and I found it so important because there's something behind that, and we better be careful of what's going on with CPS. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. So as I'm looking, I put it on pause to collect information. Then all of a sudden, my laptop, which is new, just went to the left, right, upside down, and started blinking. It just stopped working. And I said, what the fuck just happened? So anyway, I said, okay. So I had to go on and buy a new laptop, right? And so as I'm setting up the internet, and you know how you go into that section where as you're setting up your Wi-Fi, it will give you multiple energies or houses around you that it pulls the energy from who has Wi-Fi. So you kind of get there, I guess they're cold, and you see that and whatever, you look for yours and then you type it in. I don't know, this is what it is here. But something popped up that I've never seen. And what popped up was FBI van, the number. I said, what? FBI van, the number. I said, am I tripping? And I kept staring at it. I said, bitch, who they looking for? I said, is it my black ass? Because it has to be around, right? So, I don't know. I didn't know what to think. I said, FBI? Huh? So, you know my nosy black ass. I went outside looking. I said, where's this van at? What car at? Who? What? I didn't see shit. So I said, well, where are they at? Are they on the other side of the street? Are they down the street? But it wouldn't go down there. It's usually what's kind of beside you and in front of you, kind of on your block, right? So I said, but why would it pick up FBI van? But there's nothing. But hey, it's FBI, right? So I said, interesting. Well, whatever it is and what it ain't, good morning. Because I'm like, what the fuck? You never know what's going on. Just like somebody I know that worked for the FBI was telling me how you have snitches in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Where they make agreements with the FBI and CIA to tell on people, and they live next door to you. They be Middle Easterns, Chinese, all type of people, right? Because you know what the fuck been going on. And what's been going on is they be, as you know, they up there deporting these people. And the case that was so interesting here that I heard about, that I was very, very, very confused. And it was the one in Orange County. It was the case, and they heard about it way over there in the South, Louisiana, everywhere, where they had deported this Colombian family that lived in Orange County. And if you know Orange County, it's an interesting frequency. And apparently and allegedly the people were living in Irvine. I said, Irvine? I said, is it? I said, Irvine, that's kind of a upscale energy. What the fuck were they doing? And how did they live in America between 35 to 37 years undocumented? So then they had an interview with their children, right? So then I said, okay. And their children didn't speak English. They spoke Spanish or Espanol. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So I guess they asses ended up they had them locked up in Louisiana. So then I started to sit back and really start watching who in the fuck they're deporting. And I said, these people have been in America for a long time. Were they used as mules? And they've been living here all this time, and now their services are no longer needed? So they're deporting them back? Is that what we're missing? Not only are motherfuckers telling on people, but the way how they're targeting certain people is certain people. Were they brought here as mules or to bring something in, and now their services are no longer needed? Or maybe it was brought in and now they set up shop in America and decided to get jobs and whatever else, and America let them live here. And now they got to go. Did we ever think about that? Because not everybody's being attacked. And then they keep records of these people, of where they are located and so on. So when we're hearing that ICE and got rid of a wife and so on, maybe the real question what we should ask is, how in the fuck did they get here? Okay. Furthermore, isn't it interesting how they're saying that America is deporting people to El Salvador prisons and a lot of the people are innocent? Allegedly. So they'll say a makeup artist that's just innocent, and he was a makeup artist in America. He was not part of the gangs. How in the fuck you know? I'm just looking at shit. I'm looking at America. I'm looking at America as a Capricorn, as an Aries, and as a Taurus. And all of them think ahead. All of them plot. All of them already know the what's up, right? It's us that don't know the what's up. And I'm just kind of, looking at the spell work. When I seen that FBI energy, I said, bitch, what the fuck? So I'm like, then I start thinking, I say, you know what? That's how motherfuckers get set up. You know how we hear about those cases and they accuse them of different stuff on their laptops and phones. And then I said, what is it for the FBI or the CIA or whosoever have their IT people to tap into your shit and put that energy on your cell phone and laptops, and you a complete innocent person and you cannot get out of it because the shit was found? Okay, look, my kid's father's mother tried to, here he go with his shit, because the last time he was doing that shit, y'all was like, he sneeze, he doing, okay. So anyway, my kid's mother tried to set me up that way, where, you know, she was such a horror mom, and I don't know what was going on with those two, because his ass, remember I said he was adopted. So anyway, I seen these people like walk past the apartment, and I wasn't tripping. Next thing you know, them same people come to my door, and I said yes. And then they were saying that, okay. So anyway, so these people, it was a Mexican woman and an Asian woman, right? I mean, an Asian man, right? And they come knocking at the door. And I'm like, yes. And they were like asking for my name. I said, yeah. And apparently they were from, I guess, the USPS mail fraud unit, wherever they call them, the mail fraud people. And I was like, what you want? Like, what? So the Latina woman was being such an asshole, and I got with her ass like, what's up? They were trying to say that I was doing mail fraud because they said that I transferred the whole household, his mother's whole household, but that wasn't it. He transferred his mail to my address. So they were going back and forth with me, and then they wanted to come in and look around and was trying to I was like, hell no, what the fuck you all talking about, right? So then we got into it. I'm like, fuck no, hell no. And so then I called the manager. I said, I noticed that they walked down the hill. What did they say to you? She said, oh, they asked me for a key to your apartment, and I asked them to show me a warrant, but they didn't have a warrant. I said, a key? So I told my kid's father, hey, blah, 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 this is what happened. He looked at me, he said, oh no. He said, my mom's niece works as a mail inspector. And he said, most likely my mom was trying to set you up. I said, what? So I called the bitch, the Latina, and I said, check it. And she hung. She was like, that's okay. The case is closed. It's over. What are you talking about? People, some of this stuff that we see is not real. It's a setup. Okay? So I just said all that, like, what are the frequencies happening here, right? Because it made me think about something. It made me think about Black excellence versus boule. And at one of my son's school, they have a Black excellence energies going on, right? And what he was explaining to me, that most of the kids are biracial, and they want speakers to come and speak at their Black excellence club. And I said, I'll be happy to I volunteered myself. Do you know I was uninvited by my own son? In so many words, I'm too militant. He said, Mom, Black excellence. I said, I am. What are you talking about? He said, Mom, you will get in there. I said, I will only talk about what you want me to talk about. Do you know they had the audacity among my two sons talk about maybe they should look up social media people like influencers? I said, look. I said, I can't believe this. I said, they don't want the real. And I told my son, I said, check this out. Y'all need to rename your club away from Black excellence. I said, because the way Black excellence is presented itself is for IEPs and people in special ed. I'd rather for you name it Black something. I don't know. Black Student Union. I don't know. But Black excellence is just an IEP meeting. Okay? I said, shit. So they went and freaking replaced boule with Black excellence, and the energies underneath it, to basically conform to lower level motherfuckers who are not Black excellence and who are uneducated and so on. I'm not being rude. I'm being very much real. or people who are not of a certain echelon, just to have everybody fit. Now that's DEI. Black excellence is DEI. Boule isn't. There's your DEI. So then I started to understand and examine Black excellence and what is underneath it. Okay? So I just kind of going to go through some things that I found very interesting, right? I want to start off kind of the spiritual game and essence of stuff, right? People out here tripping on Shaquille O'Neal, okay? And the shit was just hilarious. But I just kind of want to go down some energies first of occultism, right? We have a Black culture, but they put us under Black excellence. I want to know, where did Black excellence come from? Did it come from the same place as African American? What white person was in a meeting and said Black excellence? And then they put out a group of Negroes that said Black excellence, no more Boule. Okay? Because again, Boule doesn't fit your Jay-Z's, your T.S. Madisons. Okay? Okay. That's where I'm going. It doesn't go for uneducated energies that's ignorant, hoified. It removes your Megan Thee Stallions, your Glorillas, and so on. Okay? They wouldn't fall under Boule, even though they went and recreated what bougie means, but in reality, it removes that frequency. And Boule is a very discriminatory frequency. Okay, so I kid around with it, but it is the truth. Okay, it's a form of spellwork, and Boule connects back to African frequencies of wealth, prosperity, income, and well-being. Okay, that's the real truth of it, and it goes back to African history, and then it also comes back into American history of wealth, prosperity, income, and well-being, and so on. Black excellence does not. It's very limited frequency. And it can be understood as discriminatory because you're saying Black excellence, which is separate from Boule, which is a different language. So that's why now they played you and coming with DEI. They're saying you overly woke and you are Black excellence. So therefore, anything dealing with Black businesses, Black this, Black that, they are putting that under the energies of Black excellence. So anything that is us, they are removing it under Black excellence, which falls under DEI. So understand, Black excellence came along with that whole DEI shit. And that's how they are playing games with you instead of putting it back under Boule, which is civil rights, even funny enough, affirmative action. But remember, that didn't connect to us, okay? So they purposely created this spell work of what we're going to call the hood girl, your Megan Thee Stallions, to deteriorate that frequency, and then brought in hoodlums. We're going to keep it right. I'm not being rude. I'm just keeping it real. They brought in hoodlums to restructure the Masonic frequency in Black colleges and fraternities and so on, and then created this whole cult and gang, and then even fucked up religion, church, and removed the Prince Hall energy, which is the Boule energy, which goes back to fraternity energy, which goes back to cultured energy. Okay, so they removed all of that and then create this as what I call bad and bougie type of bitches and motherfuckers who are into name brands and all of this stuff, but they have ghettoized it. Okay, but I'm not about to play word games. I have to keep it simple. Okay, So anyway, I noticed Black excellence. I noticed Black excellence people don't have culture and custom and foundation. And I had to go back to when I was growing up, that I'm talking American Black people really had customs and culture. But where the mistake was, we were too busy grabbing from Africa, which we lost ourselves with, which is nothing wrong, but that's because at one time Africa was a little bit more down than what it is now. So we can come together and create a culture, right? But however, there are so many things about the Black culture that is just ours, that we have. But growing up, we assumed that we didn't have Black culture. Somehow the East Coast pushed their frequency into the rest of the world. But we also have to understand the East Coast have different type of individuals coming from all parts of the world, which is different from California and the South. California and the South for sure have Native, Indigenous, Black nationalist type of energies. For sure. Whereas New York had it, but they removed it and then replaced them with third world people. But as they start bringing in the real slave ship coming from these islands, it transformed the different frequencies of what we call Blacks. There's a movement going on, and we better be careful of Afro-Latinos, because remember, back in the early 1900s, late 1800s into the 1900s, the slave ship came to America, dropped off a whole bunch of Afro-Latinos from different islands. And a lot of them was going to HBCUs, and a lot of them mixed in within the culture of the American Blacks. So they are reinventing this. So when we hear motherfuckers like Lord Jamar and then that interesting frequencies that happen in Texas, understand there's a movement happening. And nothing is ever by mistake. Everything is by design, because they are recreating something. That means they're trying to merge us together. Okay, they're trying to say we're Black too. They're trying to reshift the frequencies, because remember, Afro-Latinos went missing in action, even within the culture. But we also have to understand a lot of Afro-Latinos practice Santeria, Ifa, and stuff like that. So what is really going on? I'm not making sense. Make it make sense then. Because I'm saying there's an interesting movement uprooting. And they've been playing with words and culture. Black excellence is not boule. Black excellence is DEI ghetto business. To accept the riffraffs of people who are misfits and didn't fit into society. So they restructured boule into Black excellence. And many Afro-Latinos got educated in America and became boule. And you just didn't know who they were and who they are. Mexico, Central and South America, that's technically not Afro-Latino. Those are just native people. If you have Texas and Mexico right here, and they walk over, that's just native people. Those America. That's all what it is. It's above your pay grade, because they lied to you and told you that the African people went to Mexico and set up shop. No, they were already there. That was their land. That's why there's so much confusion on these different tribal names and languages. And I'm going to keep it real with you. The reason why I'm talking about this is because in the United States, they're figuring out a way to test your children and take them away from you. I learned something very important, because remember I told you, if your child or children are native, they have an inheritance and they're part of a nation. The nation is now knowing that they are not the original people, that they are hybrids. That 23andMe and all that shit lied about your DNA. That's why they're going bankrupt and saying don't listen to any of that shit. Or they giving you a little bit of yourself, but lying. Because what is really happening, and the reason why they really want your kids to take their asses to school and go to these doctors, because they want your children to take blood work and they want to, on the low, test their DNA. And then when they test the DNA and see the indigenous, the native, and the black nationalists, they want to take them away from you. They want to ask questions. They want to say, hey, who's native in your family? Which one? I had 2 different people tell me about this, because a couple of them got caught up in some energies with Child Protective Services, dealing with health and this and that. And so they did DNA tests on their children without their permission, blood work, and then start questioning them and didn't want to give their kids back to them. One of them is fighting. And I said they want to take your kid from you, adopt them off to some white folks. I'm telling you, this is going on. American black people. So be careful of the new movement, because if your child doing blood work and they up there sneaking, knowing, saying, oh, okay, oh, because they know what the DNA is. We don't. That's why I was telling you guys about the indigenous frequency of the land. Okay? So I'm telling you. So I started to look at culture and frequencies of black people, right? What I found very interesting is I started to wonder, this is so off base, but should another woman make your man's plate of food? That's folklore and proverbs. That's spell work. Hell no, another woman, not even his mama, should be making him a plate of food. If you sitting your ass right there, what you doing? That's why he's a mama's boy. That's why that woman just took your man. And you're like, well, what if it's his cousin? I don't care if it's cousin. I don't know what's going on there. Get your ass up and make his plate. That's spell work. They were talking about the real name of CVS Pharmacy and where it came from. And they were talking about it came from a witch who's a descendant of the Salem's witches who were murdered, which they were black, right? So this person is a witch, a descendant of them. And she was basically a root worker, a witch doctor, a medicine doctor. And they're saying her name was Celeste Versa Sage. I said, what? And then they created a abbreviation of CVS Pharmacy, which is out in Massachusetts, because this woman was a medicine doctor, a medicine witch. And she's black. But the last name Sage smudge. You already know what that is and where that came from. And they'll say this story not real. It's real. They just don't talk about it. Every time you look, these fucking companies are always taking an energy of us and recreating it and dialing up, and they'll tell you it's a whole other nationality person, but it's not. So you telling me CVS is allegedly named after a descendant of the Salem witch energy, which is really a black woman, which is a native, which is indigenous, which is a black nationalist. So therefore we've always been witching. Okay. I really started to analyze Prince and what the fuck he was talking about with them chemtrails and what he was really saying about them spewing that shit and people going crazy and sick. Remember I keep talking about that? And again, I was watching the outside and it was cutting up again. It was a hot day. For 3 days, it's been hot. Then I seen them spewing the chemtrails, whatever that shit is. I said, watch this. In the next couple of days, it's going to be rainy and cold. Today is rainy and cold. Just yesterday, people was eating ices and fucking in shorts. That's spell work. That's witch doctor shit. I would like to understand white people. I would like to understand why is it we don't understand they are not the master plan of magic. They steal magic. I would like to understand, how did we forget that black people used to do planet magic, moon magic, Jupiter magic? How did black people forget that Jupiter is allegedly larger than Earth and they used to do work, certain type of work? I'm not going to talk about it because I'm among mixed company. How did we let white people be astrologers and astronomy people and metaphysic teachers and teach us anything when we are naturally people who can vibe with planets and Earth? How did we let white people replace black people doing skull and bones work? Why didn't we understand skull and bones is really from melanated energies? How did that happen? How come we didn't know the movie Set It Off was allegedly based off of 4 black women? One was a mother with 3 daughters. From back in the day. Seemed like around either the late 1800s, early 1900s. And they were going around robbing banks. How do we miss that? Do you understand that most movies are made off of asylum, psychology, and real stories? And they intentionally don't report it, or we don't get to read it in history? How did we miss that? They said the 4 women had Tommy guns and was killing motherfuckers and cutting up. How come we didn't know the real Pet Cemetery story came from this energy in Florida called Buzzard Island, where people used to take their loved ones and put them on this island and do work to have them resurrect, summoned. How come? And it was indigenous people, whatever you want to call them, native. who's doing this type of necromancy. Then the white people got scared and burnt everything down and prohibited, killed the natives and shipped them off different places. But then they take their asses there and do work. How come we didn't know about Buzzard Island in Florida? Since we're talking spell work and white people and hidden energies, right? Tamar Braxton said she's on PrEP. And I said, what type of spell work and word games is she playing when we all know allegedly she must have AIDS? AKA / HIV. Don't play with me. And don't play with us as black women. What I'm very interested to know in the long run, if black women are taking PrEP, how does that fuck up our reproductive system and change the scope of our system? If they are throwing out in air and fire magic that she is on PrEP, then what the fuck are they trying to push black women into doing again? We have all of these medicine doctors and witchcrafts, but that is because the world that we're in under black excellence, we under these IEP meetings and special education classes. But we're not thinking. They have transformed the mind of black people under this black excellence / DEI bullshit. And Tamar is coming out talking about she takes PrEP because you don't know what nigga does what with they dick. Then there's a problem. Maybe we should solve the problem. Maybe we need to diagnose the problem. Look at the symptom. We're not thinking. You got people moving out of Atlanta saying that they're sick and tired. Gay women, doesn't matter, heterosexual, saying we are tired of these parties. We can't even go to a party and drink a cocktail without it being a dark room or a fucking tent in the back and niggas fucking. Every party niggas are fucking. Because you guys are on IEPs. You're hypersexual. Black excellence. You can't even go have a good cocktail at a party without you going in a fucking closet douching your ass. Huh? Woman, black woman, what you doing sucking dick? What's happening? How do we do that? Where did that come from? Because you guys are on these IEPs. Talking about PrEP. How come black women didn't connect, and I'm not saying what is what it ain't, that when we used to breastfeed, we didn't get breast cancer? White women are the ones who have breast cancer. And biracial women from a white bloodline, a certain DNA, got breast cancer. But black women breastfed and it kept away disease, sicknesses. Do your research. Then they coerced black women to stop breastfeeding and told us a story due to being wet nurses. Well, us being alleged wet nurses had nothing to do with us stop breastfeeding. But it was a psychological game. That's a cold game and a cold piece of spell work, but that's something to look into. Do your research. Why are gay men around here using tampons and sanitary napkins for spell work, meaning collecting their mamas, their sisters, their cousins, their aunties, period blood, and then doing work with it. How come? How come some of them are taking the tampons with the blood on it and putting it in their butthole, talking about that they on their period though? It's above y'all pay grade, isn't it? How come there's a whole energy going down in Louisiana with the Chinese, with the crawfish? Because they've been up there stealing crawfish and illegally stealing it, in addition to somehow doing plant-based, lab-based crawfish and bringing it into America. There was a whole crawfish festival going on, and the black people and the white people had their permits. And there's some kind of Latin person over it, Garcia or whoever, and the Asians showed up without permits, and then told, I guess, the police or the sheriffs or whoever, asked people for their permits to go talk to this person. And now they want to ban them from doing that, and they should have the proper documentation. What type of spell work is that? That you black people running up in them fish boils and whatever boils, not knowing that they're up here creating fake ass crawfish and stealing it, huh? I don't understand how in the hell the crawfish business got out of the black hands in the first fucking place. I need to understand what the hell is going on with all these third world black women marrying Chinese and all these Asian men. Don't you understand the reason why they're marrying your black ass? Because black women are wealth, prosperity, income. Don't you understand that we are well seasoned? Do you understand we are the mother and creator of the DNA? More than property. Don't you understand you're bringing them into your spell work, woman? You don't understand that Chinese people don't even do their own fucking work anymore. They doing your work just like Indians are doing hoodoo and voodoo. You don't understand that Chinese people buy boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of candles, especially gambling and lucky candles. You don't understand the real reason why they over there in Africa trying to practice all that Ifa and African stuff so they can steal your shit and use it against you and then steal your woman. Where in the hell are the African men? Too busy marrying American black women? What kind of spell work is that? We were having a conversation about Chinese men and what's going on with them. Because they are overpopulated due to, remember when it was that 2-child energy and they was killing all them girls? So now Africa then prostituted their women out like Esther and Sarah, pimping and pandering, and then selling their women to these Chinese men, and the Chinese men are whooping their ass. I seen a whole wild Thai marriage. What's going on here? There are whole YouTube channels with African women having these hard-looking children. I don't care. I'm going to say it like it is. I said, these are mutants. I don't know what's going on here. And I don't care who don't like it. Because we all know what we're looking at. I said, this don't look right to me. This does not look right to me that a Chinese man is running the household. But we have niggas out here telling black women, look up to your man, he's God. I'm looking at Chinese men running a whole household and raising black children. I mean, black children that don't belong to them. Where in the hell? What is going on in this universe? You don't see that spell work? That's all they do. You want to kill a nation? Get the woman. Kill the man off and get the woman, because it's always the woman that they want. because they understand that black women have a certain mutated DNA. All of us do. And the more that you homogenize us, the more we lose it. I was over here listening to all these black excellent niggas getting on Just Hilarious. Y'all don't like her? Just go on and either is well, I don't know if she's going through a humiliation ritual or whatever. They're gonna fire her black ass or whatever, because we know she's black excellence, because they too busy saying she can't read the teleprompter. We barely see her on Wikipedia. We don't know what's going on. When I said the double Dutch bus, I said, well, might be that small bus. I don't know what's going on here. I said she needs a mentor. They have Felicia Rashad sitting up there acting like she's mothering these grown-ass niggas. She don't have to get in front of anything or anything like that to tell them to be good children. Talk to them behind the scenes. Anyway, it's a big deal because Just Hilarious allegedly went to Shaquille O'Neal's house or wherever, and he had 4 big bootied white girls. And if y'all don't see, that was game, and that was a test run, and it showed the ignorance of everybody with it. And I was listening to different people talk about it, from I guess that Corey Holcomb and just people. And I'm reading the comments. I said, these black excellent niggas don't get it. They just all on some game. They all know each other. It's not about Shaquille O'Neal being with no fucking white girl. We still asking questions if he doesn't have an IEP. Everybody talk about he's a good person. He's good. And he's a Pisces. They love them white girls. And I'm looking at the calculations. I said, what is she really dropping? What is Just Hilarious really saying? Because there's something that we're missing, and we're getting too thrown off by black men attacking her. Notice it's the black men attacking her saying, what's the big deal? He has the money. No, let's put black men aside and look at what it is. He is a black man with black children who was married to a black woman. Now, you go to this party or whatever is going on, he got 4 bitches up there, white girls, Just Hilarious sitting up there. We don't know what the fuck is going on. Allegedly. And there's a thing now to have white girls. So we back to Snow Bunny. Then I started saying big booty white girls. I said, were those trans? Were they eunuchs? What's happening? What they saying? Because they said 4 and white girls. Because wouldn't that lead into that movie that came out with Jonathan Majors, and now he want to up there talk about that he been molested, harmed, sexually assaulted, and traumatized, and they then sat up and created a whole movie of a black man being lured to suck a white man's dick and getting fucked by a white man? Is that what we doing? I'm sitting up here looking at all these white boys in these superhero movies, and you're going to give us Will Smith 6 degrees of separation effect? So we have Jonathan Majors, who was pulled down, demasculinized, under the energies of Megan Good, and niggas are running around here talking about she's a whole little boy, allegedly. We just talking, and I'm confused. I said, was she a lesbian or a little boy? I'm just going by what they're putting out here. You see the black excellence in the spell work here? We can clearly see he needs help. I'm hoping one day that the man winks and help. But we got to remember, she probably married that 7-day Adventist dude so she could learn how to put people under work. Because we already know that 7-day Adventists put people under work. And they know how to become your payee. So I'm like, is Jonathan Majors, is he IEP? And she's his payee? Because we have to understand the 7-day Adventist Church deals with mental disorders, asylums, psychology. Just like they almost locked up my client. Her own mama, I'm telling her business, her own mama tried to set her up. Okay? Tried to set her up. And tried to have the police in DC pick her up to take her to a facility, hold her for 72 hours, just to get her to what's it called, conservatorship over her shit. And the Adventist Church, that's what they do. So I'm thinking, oh, was that just training? So now here she is with his ass. First, this man was Marvel Comics. They took away all his masculine deals. And it happened after he looked at that big bootied woman walk past. Now he's full of trauma. Now he's in this new movie dealing with steroids, cocaine, and speed. Bulimic, anorexic. Psycho. Just to find out at the end, it was all a psycho dream dealing with trauma. And I said, what the fuck is going on here? And I didn't see because I didn't want to see it, but I'll see it later. And then it was being pointed out that he had all this esteem for white women, but the black woman is a prostitute. But then they had him on his knees, on his knees. What type of spell work is that? And you seeing new movies come out with other culture to people, men, respect, manly, all of that. So now the black man is going to get on his knees, knowing that never was the fantasy, that never had been the fantasy, but times has changed because under black excellence, they be ready to stick their dicks up in that. Fuck it, whatever they want to do. What type of spell work is this? And this is appropriate? This is okay? This is fine. Right? I'm just asking questions because I want to understand the spell work of this movie that connects back to Shaquille O'Neal. That black men are condoning, but you are chastising just hilarious because she told the business, but this energy portrays one thing, but this is what's going on. And it's not about him having money. I know about Dick Gregory and all the rest of them niggas, even Muhammad Ali, dicks going into white girls. But we didn't know it. We didn't know it. They're creating this energy that black people have a fetish for white people. They're creating white man hysteria. These niggers with their fucking big dicks gonna keep sticking their dicks in our bitches. And we want to get these Ukrainians and Russians and all these other motherfuckers here. So we're going to create hysteria. and create segregated cities away from these big dick niggas and these wide pussy black women. Except when we want to sneak with them. Because they brought up Shaquille O'Neal having dick on the Shay Shay show. What? Why are they talking about dicks on what? You don't see the fetish and the fear? This is fear mongering. Just Hilarious did her job. And everybody who's supposed to respond. Shaquille O'Neal they in on this because they are being used to cause white fear again. They're bringing up old shit. The same recycled bullshit. Black exploitation, the white woman, the prostitute, up in the movies. We got real shit and they still playing this recycled shit. Who gives a fuck about his money? I'm so curious on why there's a report on black women in Texas needing men and single. When did that happen? Oh, that's because they didn't move from Atlanta and now they're doing this whole surveying and percentage. So it makes it appear that black women don't have men, but in reality, motherfuckers are moving to Texas who are gay and having a whole energy going on. So it makes it appear that black women don't have men, but that's untrue. It's the fact that you have this new breed of migration running to Texas that's making the percentage in the surveying. It's inaccurate. It's unfair. It's a higher shifting. So therefore, if you have black men, black women getting married, being together, being in relationships, and I'm just talking, let's say that was at 75%. Last year, but then or 2 years ago. So now all of a sudden within a year there's this migration into Texas. So the illusion makes you believe that the black woman is single, but she really isn't in Texas. We just talking percentages. But that is because where they were at 75%, if you have a new 90% energy of gay men moving their asses to Texas, is going to change the percentage and the calculations. So therefore, the statistics and everything is off, and it will make it appear it's like the census. The census lied. They lied about household and where people were from. It's kind of like this. I was having an energy with my family because on the census, it showed that my grandmother and them were born in Texas, but they wasn't born in Texas. They were born in Louisiana and moved to Texas. And then whoever was in your house, they just named them any fucking thing. Because the person who lived with my grandmother and them also moved from Louisiana, and they said that person was from Texas. Statistics, surveying, and percentages is all spell work. So we have to be careful of what they're presenting to us in this day and time. And this is why we have to be careful with that whole Just Hilarious talking about Shaquille O'Neal. That's very random. But when they put shit out and other niggas follow it to chastise, understand it's game. Then you wondering why I'm not in the algorithms. Then you wondering why I don't have 100,000 people looking at me. Because they don't want your black asses to think. They got you under black excellence. You under IEP meetings. And if you guys don't see how all these niggas are together, the whole black frequency, you deserve to be in special ed. I'm not being rude. I'm just telling like it is. Everybody talk about the same thing. That's psychological warfare. They introduce something to you psychologically, and you follow it. I'm sitting up here watching D.L. Hughley be a fucking hater to Shay Shay. I said, this horoscope shit, I don't know. Pisces against Cancer. People don't get Pisces is Cancer nemesis. Don't get it fucked up. I could be cool with the Pisces, but there's something about the frequencies that the Pisces end up cutting up, and they so busy being into themselves talking about, well, maybe I had to do that. No, your ass be off basis. That's why your ass had to drop down to the Scorpio. Because when you move into the Cancer, you want to change the Cancer. You want to be, you want to observe and then subjectively give your information. You want to create and make up shit that's untrue. Then you want to act like you're the teacher. But not knowing that the Cancer is its own frequency. Because then you'll go to the Scorpio to talk about the Cancer. But the Cancer come directly to both of y'all. We're just talking horoscopes. So when I heard D.L. Hughley get at Shay Shay over here minding his business with his own big booty tight pants world. Are you angry because them same people don't want to get in your shit? So now you going to sit up and clown them people because they on his shit? Lying and not lying, bullshit. Because basically what D.L. Hughley is saying that all them niggas, they in special ed anyway. So who gives a fuck? That's why they on his show. I don't have special ed people on my show. See, them niggas wear helmets. Shay Shay wear a helmet too. Matter of fact, he's acting like they're payee. So he's letting all them special people get on his show knowing he's the payee. He's accusing Shay Shay of being a payee. Why are you walking down the street with all those special need children? And one of them have a helmet on. That's what D.L. Hughley's saying to Shay Shay. This Spellwork, Black Excellence, right? Because we under it. They out here talking about these Asian people maybe having lab children. They suspicious of their height and what they're producing. We have to be careful how, see, they tried to choke the fuck out of me. We have to be careful because they're always in our business. I have a person, she's Mongolian. And when I need to just like hurry because I need to get some work, she's always nosying. She asked me a question about what can she do for wealth? And I gave her generic frequencies. But she don't understand what I do because I don't discuss it. So she's so nosy that she helped me bring stuff to the door, and she started asking me about something that I had in my box. Now I looked at her. I'm like, you motherfucking Mongolian. You have your own shit. We don't only have to worry about white people being in our business. We got to worry about all cultures in our business because they don't want us to have nothing. You got to worry about your landscaper throwing shit up in the corners. So you got to go out and spray, do your own work after they fucking leave. You could barely have Lyft and Uber motherfuckers pick you up without them being haterators or whatever, or just people helping you. Because if you're black, you can't have shit. That's why they are connected with us. We have motherfuckers called the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts and the J.P. Morgans that made their wealth off of black people magic and prosperity and income. We have Philadelphia to DC to California, wherever there's black people, they come in and monopolize and ravish the whole frequency and get rid of us, but steal our wealth, our bones, our mind, our spirits, our energies, our frequencies, our foundations, our money, our magic, and then turn around and say, it's ours. I remember we used to talk about Lucky Mojo over there in Sonoma. That's the woman I say always eat babies. And their whole teaching. Do you understand the whole YouTube, just about the whole YouTube witchery world learned from them? Do you understand on their website, Lucky Mojo, it's called Curio? I don't even know if it's still there anymore, have classes that would tell white, Asians, Mexicans, whoever, connect yourself to black people and their culture so you can learn their hoodoo, voodoo, whatever. Do you understand it? Do you understand this was going on around the world from Europe and all? Do you understand a lot of them YouTube witches were doing that? And when Wayward originally came out, they would say, oh my gosh, they over here talking about the Lucky Mojo. They're going to mess up their career, the industry. What are you talking about? This is occultism, bitch. What? But this is what it is. When I was hanging with what's her name, we had went there. They loved her. They hated me. I said, watch this. I'll go pay for something. The shit gonna decline. That's what happened. I said, fuck. That woman who owned that place looked at me, and I looked at her, and we looked at each other. I said, oh, But these are the people teaching you work. Teaching other people work about you. Do you know in the Bay Area used to crack me up, and I would go to these metaphysics places with these white folks, they'll give some crazy ass advice. Do you know how many times I've been kicked out of Botanicus? And I forgot the name of the place, but over there in in Berkeley, between Oakland and Berkeley. That metaphysic place. And we used to go in there, and that man couldn't stand me. Because I'll like, if people were black, I would go outside and wait for them and tell them the real. I had somebody, I was listening to him explain Alegua and Ishu to a black man. And I went outside and waited and broke that shit down to him. I said, Don't let them explain, what is it, John the Conqueror. But for sure, they love explaining Orishas. That's why we need to be segregated again. Let them have that and let black excellence go with them, where the real ones do what we do. I was appalled up in that metaphysics store when they was up there dressing candles with glitter. I said, well, what the fuck? Botanicas, they always putting some wood chips and shit in it. Filipinos doing their motherfucking work. They so busy being up in the botanicas, and especially jacking off them fucking glass candles to make Jollibees famous. Y'all niggas out here eating Jollibees. Jollibees been around, bitch. There was right there in fucking Daly City. Me and my kids used to tear it up. Now it done conquered the world. Y'all better stop being that Jollibees and make your own motherfucking chicken. And let them have that spaghetti with some with that soy sauce or whatever in it. I don't know. I'm not being rude. Somebody told me it was ketchup in it. I don't know. I'm just saying what it is. I'm not saying Jollibee chicken not good. Shit, I told you I ate it. But y'all act like it's the shit. They doing some cold spell work, huh? They doing Catholicism and whatever. Some of them do Santeria. You watch. I watched this Filipino woman take that black candle. I said, whoever she want that skull. She want them fucked up. Filipino women a motherfucker. What are you talking about? I seen one get some dark ass work done. I was just minding my business. This was some years back. And she was like, I can't believe he did that to me. I was nice to his daughter and this. And she was a Filipino lady dating a black man. I said, oh, hell no. She gonna fuck up him and his daughter. Do you know that's that type of work to have? That's like something, was that Texas with the black rapper, his daughter, and they got shot. And you see how his baby mama flexing with money. That's that type of work. You got to be careful of that. That's why I say you always have to protect yourself. Because you don't know who, what, where. We just talking. I'm so sick of white people then took over Medusa, Hecate, and Lilith. Those are not your entities, deities, spirits, whatever. They're not yours. But they love them. And you only know what you've read. You love summoning them witches. White men, women, and all. Imagine if black women really practiced the real shit of Medusa, Lilith, and Hecate, and the connections. You know how everything is like connected. Cometics, this, Orishas, da 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 da. I'm just talking about the real shit. They cause confusion with these entities and deities, right? Spell work. Black excellence. I know a person the Pace sister daughter, I don't know if they call her Coco or whatever. I know somebody who reached out to her because she was hollering that she needed to lose weight because she was eating that chicken and Roscoe's and all that, right? This is a Pace daughter. He been trying to work with her, exercise. He gave her a meal plan, all of that. She was acting as if she was interested. She even paid him. And I told him, I said, be careful of her. I hope that she's not trying to steal your stuff or steal your stuff and have somebody else make it. And he tried to work her for a minute and she kept being belligerent. Then he sees her at the Kojic conference and she was all up in the asshole of the Clark sisters. And he wished her a happy birthday because I guess she's an Aquarius. I'm just talking spirit gossip. The daughter pops out of the Pace sister with something called slapping salad. Something like that, right? Let me see if I can find it. Because he was quite perturbed. Let me see if I can find it. Y'all, mind your business. Stop talking to these people who call themselves entertainers, celebrities, famous motherfuckers, and you think you doing something, and all they doing is taking your product, and you up there wanting to help them, and they asses is on some other shit. They just, that means that woman pretended to want help and didn't want help. She wanted to steal an idea to upgrade her idea. I'm assuming that she already had, but she didn't know how to really put it together. But in so many words, he helped her. I think it's called slapping salad or something. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. It's called slaps. It's called slapping, smacking salads. Slapping, smacking salads. Fresh made delicious salads that make you smack and want to slap somebody. And I'm assuming this is her aunt on here, the one who, and I'm not being rude, but she's always acting desperate, knowing that the Pace sisters have an anointing, but they getting drowned out because they too busy, desperate as fuck. And she was so happy. I'm just getting the information. Was so happy because she's doing some kind of Kickstart or whatever, and Twinkie Clark basically donated, and she was just all, that's not Jesus. That's not Christ. That's Jesus the Christ. You up there honoring a man and stealing from man. We know you not Lord. You under God's energy. That's why the church is fucked up. Now, why didn't the woman Coco, oh, I don't know her name, but she's a daughter. Why didn't she just keep it real with the person that I know what her goals were? Then they could have worked together on that. But she already had her own team. And he was trying to help her. And I know he was trying to help her because, again, he was like, okay, this is what I'm going to put on the plan, da-da-da-da. And then next thing you know, they relaunched this whole... I said, oh, this your shit. They relaunched it based off of your energy and what you helped her with. And then she gave it to somebody else like I told him. And he was like, you know what? At first, I didn't want to think that. I said, no, it's what it is. Allegedly. We're going to say allegedly. That's called stealing work and stealing people's spell work, stealing a petition. I was talking to someone and they were talking about that human talk. Remember that human talk? I seen it on TikTok. And they was trying to have this whole class thing going, Black history, and I knew that was going to be a bust. However, they start arguing among themselves, just cutting up the Black excellent crew. However, I didn't know there were white women in taking the lessons and classes. Let me tell y'all something, and I'm not being discriminatory, but I'm discriminatory. Anytime that you see other people in your frequencies, mixed company, understand there's always going to be a problem. Because let me tell you something. I've watched white women. A Black woman will have a great concept, and sometimes the white woman will come and add their shit. Sometimes you have to make it your own. Because white women come in and do spell work. That's probably the reason why they were all arguing with each other in friction. Because all I was thinking, I said, damn, that's human. I said, that's the Cosby Show. I see their concept, but anytime that you have this kind of stuff going on, you always know it's Black excellence. There's always some bullshit. Right? Okay. Let's talk about this. Church. You had a podcast bring to the attention that mothers of the church are closeted lesbians. And yeah, church mothers are church mothers or closeted lesbians. And let me see here. It was on where I seen it. It was on Instagram, and it was the Christian Smith. It'll say the Christian Smith. Cigars and spirituality. And I was looking at them and I said, well, these are millennials. Let me say this. I hate that the fact that millennials be talking about shit and you can see they fully don't know what the fuck they're talking about because they don't understand the history. They only know what they read. Because if they understood the history of that, and I'm not saying what it is, what it ain't. Most of the time when we have church mothers that are lesbians, it's because they were sexually assaulted and molested when they were growing up, and a lot of times brutally. And the concept of the man, it changes the scope. And most of the time people get into Christianity because they know that their souls have been shifted. Okay? And especially when you're a child or a woman, you're a host. Do you know how many boomers and people before the boomers and so on have been through sexual assault? And you wondering why women, especially Black women, are so reactionary? Not only have the men assaulted these women of our ancestors, but women, because women are very brutal towards each other. I was talking to a client about Sybil, and I was saying, hey, I said, that story of Sybil is a motherfucker, especially when her mother cranked up her vagina and fucked up her reproductive system. Do you know a lot of women, older Black women, have whole lesbian energies, and those lesbians will go and sexually assault their girls? Most church girls are lesbians because of some kind of assault. We're not going to even talk about the preaching and the music within the frequencies. Because there's certain gospel music that can summon and uproot those type of spirits. And then it will soul mount. There's gospel and neo-gospel. And a lot of these churches are doing a lot of neo-gospel that uproots a certain frequency. Aretha Franklin energy told you with the orgies that was going on in church. That's above people pay grade. So we have to be careful with these spirited conversations with these podcasts because Black excellence, you're pushing out shit that you don't know about or have full consciousness about. And trust and believe if that is happening, because there's always some kind of assault and battery frequencies that's going on. But Black people now, we have to put out all our trauma. Oh, I'm trauma. I need help. I'm trauma. Black people need to talk about our trauma. We need to talk about a motherfucking thing. Because we're among mixed company and they're using it against us. I need to go sit up at the psychologist. I need to go talk to a psychologist. Yes, as they're writing about you, in the next 2 years, you're going to have a movie, a thriller. Then you had some white girls. Let me see if I can find it. 2 white ladies ask, why is the prosperity gospel so popular in the Black church? So we have white women minding our business, creating podcasts about prosperity gospel. Understand, prosperity gospel is different from prosperity preachers. Understand, they didn't say prosperity preachers. They said prosperity gospel, because if they said prosperity preachers, then we have a whole slew of motherfuckers. Joyce Myers, and you see her fucking face. She get plastic surgery. You got Paula White, who killed niggas to become, allegedly. You have Joel Osteen's, that nigga was up there hiding fucking money up in his goddamn wall and got mad because some nosy, went and busted him the fuck out. We got niggas out here, white people creating spirit water. What you talking about? So they didn't say prosperity preachers. They said gospel. What these white women are saying, that they are scared of your music. They scared of gospel music because there's a certain frequency and tone and it hits the soul. You have Koreans, you have Mexicans, you have Chinese that have taken over the gospel world, but they don't have the soul. If Black people are listening to spiritual hymns and gospel and certain gospel, it breaks the spells that's within you, okay? White people don't have the same soul because they don't have the same spirit and host. Koreans and all of them can sing what they want to say, but that cannot touch us. But if we have the spirit from the gut, from our pain, from our suffering, and we understand that we got through and we singing it and we singing our trauma and whatever else, that changes the scope of our frequency, and they know it. And white women don't want us, especially Black women, to connect with that type of spell work because they understand what it can do. That's why they changing your foods. They have you out here eating slop and all this oxtail shit. They have you guys out here, Black excellence, you not even knowing that you have a culture, and you over here getting rid of slutty vegan just because they had y'all on vegan food. So now you want to eat Taco Tuesdays. That changes the scope of your body, mind, spirit, and frequency. That even changes how you understand education. I used to work at UC Berkeley. I know they used to eat tacos, burritos, pizza, and Indian food. That is spell work. That's why I said, who in the fuck is running Spellman? Get you some fucking soul food. Eat some greens. How come a salad place or something not there? I don't know. Real soul food, vegan shit. I don't know. But tacos is not it. It changes your body and soul. It changes your body structure. My son clowned me. He said, Mom, your player bill. I said, what about my player bill? He said, it's like a whole Mexican woman. Yeah. Because I'm down here eating more of that. So I had to go back to cooking. My food. What I do. Why? So the question is, why are these white people up in our business? Always understand why they're in your business. They need to worry about their own Catholic energy of why these what's it called, Gregorian music and shit like that are summoning eunuchs. Worry about your own music, how y'all sing. Did y'all see that white girl who's around here provoking black women in cornrows because she believed the Vikings created cornrows? Vikings didn't create shit. The original Vikings were black. Then in different structures of the universal soul, we have people with hair braiding, or melanated energies. White people, you guys don't create shit. You just steal it. There's business, there's entrepreneurs. You guys are business people. You guys are the investors. You take from the entrepreneur and then say that you did it. We all know it. But most of us are on IEPs and Black excellence, so we don't fight against it. Because what ends up happening is we get caught up in your softness, your talk, how you talk to us, how you play games with us. And then we go drinking with you and get on drugs and shit. Then we lose all our shit. We're just talking spell work, right? We don't want to talk about how that white girl aggressively walks up on black women. She met the right one, and the right one, she walked up on the girl. Then the girl knocked the phone out the way. Then she calls the police on her, the sheriff. I guess for assault and battery. Then no, you are an aggressor. What the fucks? We just talking, having a conversation, right? White men, they back at it again. See, these new form of white men think that our sons and our husbands and our boyfriends, the black ones, are us who have blacks, they think our men are, they think that he's that NLE Choppa. They think he's, Jonathan Majors. They think it's okay to walk up on our black sons and black men and think you're going to punk them. They are in fear of you protecting yourself. That spell work, y'all better watch out. I miss Crips. I miss Crips doing work. I miss the black women who did Crip work. Maybe we should go back doing Crip work. Because they purposely and intentionally fucked up neighborhoods to break up the spell work. But then you have Crips coming out clowning on the women that used to do the work, even though it costs an energy. I'm not being mean. I'm not saying what it is. We need to get back doing crypt work. Talk about Jonathan Majors. Did you see his ass on the Breakfast Club? Trauma. Yeah, Trauma is that Megan Good. Nigga, stop. Oh, that's the movie. It's called Magazine Dreams. A psycho thriller. You know what's very interesting? I was looking at Poltergeist 1, 2, and 3. Do you understand they used to make for real spirit movies, and now they keep creating this energy of us being in a dream state, and what we see is not real. It's just because we're full of trauma. Like, what's it, like that dream? What's it, the this Magazine Dreams? Because I heard at the end of that movie that he found out that he was just dreaming. Now, I'm going to clown the person who told me that was Beyonce's stepfather in that movie. That was a whole other man. Okay? Anyway, so I looked at Poltergeist, and Poltergeist 3 is very interesting, because that's when for Caroline, they end up getting a psychologist for her, and he told her she just trauma, she's just making up shit. Then they got mad because he opened up a portal, a dimension, a certain part of her frequency, the right side, that opened it up, that caused her to see the spirits again. And the psychologist was trying to debunk it and say it was trauma based. And they gave an option. It was an option of, it was the little lady. She said, it's either me or him. Which one? And the male chose the little lady who had the necklace. What was it? It was a emblem. I forgot what it was. But it was from the native guy who played the actor. And he was on some real shit, though. He was from Oklahoma, but I don't understand why his last name was that, what it was. But it's like, damn, Caroline died. The sister got murdered. He took sick. People just went to So don't say that something is not real when they use certain type of entities and frequencies to make these type of horror movies, right? Because that movie Poltergeist is real, and I heard it was based out of Texas, and they were for real making building houses built on top of cemeteries, black cemeteries, okay? And that really happened. So so I was looking at the difference. I said at one time, movies, because we are visual, dealt with spirits. Now they are moving us into psycho thrillers. And I said, that Jonathan Major movies kind of look like Mike Tyson. People think that they didn't mounted Cuba Gooding. Okay. However, when I was looking at the frequency of it, what is it with black people? They want to take a deep dive in our head and make us believe that we don't have spirit, but take a deep dive and change the frequency and make us believe that we are homosexuals, we are delusional, we are dimensions, we have trauma. It's all of this, but all of it is just a frequency. It's what I call a medical session. Okay, so what I'm saying is like, they're out here creating asylums. People going for therapy. They don't understand this game. And I told you guys this a couple years back. They're creating psycho thrillers based off the minds of real people. It was one movie I seen. I said, that is Kanye West. Okay? So let's stop playing, right? And I was telling someone in spiritual constituents, I said, That's like saying when we were in Chinatown in San Francisco, my son went to go use the restroom downstairs. Now, Chinatown in San Francisco is very spooky, very old school and spooky. So he was like, Mom, I'll be back. So he goes downstairs. When he came back up, he said, Mom, there's a whole bunch of Chinese men downstairs gambling. And when I went down there, they all stopped and looked at me. I said, how? He said, I don't know. I looked at them. They looked at me. And I said, oh, okay. I wasn't tripping. And he kept saying they were downstairs eating and gambling. I said, oh, okay, whatever. So when I went to the restroom, it was a old ballroom with chairs on the table covered with blankets and black, no lights on. I hurry up. I used the bathroom and I just looked in there and like, okay. And I said, I know what he didn't see. And when I went back upstairs and I asked him, I said, now, when you went downstairs, what did you see? And he explained it again. And I said, were they speaking Chinese? He said, yeah. I said, all right. So you gonna tell me he's just full of trauma and the trauma let him see Chinese people. So when he went to Philadelphia and he cut up so bad in Philadelphia, and he cut up bad, and he's like, I want to leave. Then I found out on the train why he was cut up so badly. Because we were on like a tour bus thing, and I forgot where Benjamin Franklin lived, or where some of them cemeteries. He said, Mom, they were so racist. I said, who? He said, it were these men. They had these big hats and they had on these suits, and he said their faces, and he said they looked at me and their faces turned and lips curled. And he said they all lined up the street and was staring. I said, were there a lot of them? He said, Mom, they were all lined up and they were looking at me, and he said they were evil. I said, what in the colonial? Then it made me think about, I said, maybe that's why Philadelphia is interesting. I asked one of my spiritual constituents, she lives in Philadelphia, and I asked her, I said, do you think when you're driving in Philadelphia, do you think that it is shaped like a pentagram? And like, do you feel it? I said, do you feel you going in circles? Because there's something about I'm picking up with Philadelphia. It seems like it's in a circle. And the people just seem like instead of going clockwise, they're going counterclockwise. And just me remembering that, but they'll say me and whosoever is trauma based. We got to be careful. There's been a whole bunch of drama with these people right on bullshit. We were talking about Lizzo and how, like Jonathan Majors, they pulled her down, right? Who was Jonathan Majors about to trump? White and all. So they sacrificed him to humiliate him. Like Lizzo, they sacrificed her to humiliate her. Because we got to understand, we don't know where these people come from. And I had a spiritual constituent point something out to me. She said Lizzo had all the Taylor Swift fans, but Beyonce's rival. And white girls and all loved her. I said, that is true. And when I looked at the calculations of the horoscopes, I said, ew. Yeah. Because, now she's supposed to play that Rosetta Thorpe. And I said, that's a horrible casting. But I understand why they did it, because of the positioning of the horoscopes. So they feel that she could embody this woman. But that's not good casting. I was looking at Jasmine Sullivan and maybe Jill Scott. SZA, we're just talking spirit, right? Casting, right? So when it comes up to black people, they don't let you get too far without tearing you down and humiliating you, right? Did you see this weird shit with Nia Long? Because they was at that Othello energy on Broadway. I told you Broadway is going to be the new upscale frequency. They're going to reshift New York. Told you. With Denzel Washington, I forgot that white actor. Anyway, it was supposed to be a star-studded frequency. I'm so confused about Jennifer Lopez, of how she didn't sat up and trapped her children into this whole craziness of being a pansexual. I'm like, where's your daughter? Or is that your daughter? Because she got them twin kids. I said, whatever Jennifer Lopez did, that's a cold game and a cold piece of a cold piece of spell work. But I've heard about how they sit up and transform them kids and groom them and put that spell work and soul mounting on them and then have them groomed for this bullshit. It's like, damn, you state property. Damn. But we don't know that we can't tell the difference between the boy and the girl now. I don't know. Am I really supposed to believe that Nia Long bopped up on Sherry Shepherd? I don't believe that one bit. Talk about taking up for Megan Thee Stallion. What in the bullshit is this? I said that. Basically, they're trying to say that Nia Long was threatening this woman, saying she talked too much. Shit. I said, shit, if you think Sherry Shepherd talked too much, that's bullshit. Then bring Wendy Williams back where she had real niggas chasing her. I don't have no time for no Scorpio Taurus shit. Shadow selves. And then when you look at the end of it, they still come up as shadow selves. And Sherry Shepherd horoscope is trumping Nia Long's. We still trying to find out where the fuck Nia Long came from. They talk about she Caribbean. Then you have someone in Florida talking about her grandmother and them lived in Florida. Then you talk about her mama over there in New York. We don't know what the fuck is going on. Did y'all hear about that Pentagon? Supposed to be built on top of some black cemeteries and dead people, allegedly. I was studying bats. Don't judge me, because I'm the same person who said that bats look like cats. Now I think bats look like fucking rabbits and seals and possums. One of my spiritual constituents asked me to look at the book of Esther in the Bible. She said she was suspicious that Esther may be a transsexual. So I went back and looked at Esther. There's India and there's Kush. But I believe Kush is India today. And India, I told you, is Ethiopia, according to the book. I'm paraphrasing, but I had to look at Esther. Esther reminds me of Vanity. In a way, pretty. But Vanity was on the Trinity Tabernacle lying like fuck, talking about she was left at the doorstep and her father didn't want her. Then I said, where in the fuck did your sister come from? that used to date Eddie Murphy and wasn't Coming to America. How come it look like you have fillers back in the 2000s? Somebody was saying she couldn't get medical care. What are you talking about? She's vanity. She can get medical care in Fremont. There's too many facilities, especially UCSF and all. Stop playing. Maybe Vanity got what she deserved because she was inappropriate. And we as kids was listening to that shit. Generation X. That's why Generation X was hypersexual and pregnant like fuck at a young age. And humping in the bathroom and doing shit that you wasn't supposed to be doing. Listening to shit like this. There was a lot of sexual frequencies going on in the 80s. Very Aries. Very Aries dark, right? Anyway, the king in Esther was very interesting. The king drank a lot of alcohol. Esther is, I believe, the Old Testament. He drank a lot of alcohol and had everybody drunk for 7 days. As he brought in the castrated eunuchs. Eunuchs are transsexuals who didn't cut off their dicks and created the vaginas. The king also had boyfriends, so he had eunuchs and boyfriends, the concubines. We can understand that they introduced the difference between a concubine and a harem. A harem is a woman, that's the women, but the concubine is the man, the eunuchs. His queen wife didn't like what the fuck was going on because the men were separated from the women. And she was like, I don't want to be messing with him. He over there messing with them damn eunuchs and them men's. And they over there drunk. And I don't want to be part of that. He got mad because he wanted the eunuchs, the real woman, and the gay boys. And he got mad with her, created laws to basically say that she's disrespectful. And she's my wife. Fuck this bitch. Give me some new bitches. So we're going to crucify her because she don't have the right. Because she has to accept me doing it to eunuchs and gay boys. Go and give me some clean bitches. I want some virgins. Matter of fact, eunuchs, can you beautify them? P-Valley? Transsexuals? Transvestites? Doing black women's hair? We transforming into them? What? Take them over there and make sure they're beautiful enough for me. You mean give them hips? Give them more hips, lips, eyes, fillers, breast? Make them look like us? Men without dicks? You know, as eunuchs? Yeah, beautify them. However, there was a special one called Esther, who had the bomb-ass body. Beautiful. But she wasn't enough because no father, no mother, sound like the ballroom to me, no father, no mother, and had an uncle who pimped her out. And said, look at her, she pretty. Come on, king, you want to get rid of your wife? I'll give you a new one. So she pleasured the king, and she accepted the eunuchs, the men, the boys, and all, and said, fuck it. He rich. I'm going to be rich too. I'm going to accept it all. I could get me a chicken and waffle place. I can get me a Mercedes. I could get me a Rolls Royce. I could get me this and this and this. I could live in this big house, and I just turn my head because I have a cute shape. Matter of fact, I'll befriend some of you eunuchs. Matter of fact, I'll have a TS. I'll have sex with you, and so will he at the same fucking time. And the eunuchs are the madams. So, to answer your question, Esther was a prostitute who accepted the lifestyle of the king. The king crucified his wife because she didn't want to accept that shit. And she is the energies of what we see today of black women accepting the behaviors and life is the lifestyle and sexual frequencies and taking energies from eunuchs, which are transsexuals. So yeah, there's two things going on here. Okay, so then where we have IEP meetings, we have Muhammad Ali, who lied, didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. He said John, scripture 18 verse 44 said that white people in so many words are the devil. I looked at it in all my books. I said, it doesn't say that. But what is understood, there are different devils in the Bible, and there are different devils mentioned, and reality is insinuating, is almost like psychological profiling the behavior of, or psychoanalyzing the behavior, and is giving you the frequencies of white people through the devil. But this is what I'm talking about. There's not a scripture or a verse. Well, we're going to say a verse 44 that Muhammad Ali asked. He then went from Capricorn into Taurus with that story tale. Is Trump Elon's payee? Elon is becoming overstimulated, and I don't believe what is going on. They're talking about in the White House or whatever, there's segregated bathrooms, and the black woman had to step in front of her husband to get in front of Elon. I'm like, I don't believe any of this motherfucking shit. Stop trying to provoke us. We are not going to march on April 5th. That's none of our business. Isn't there something going on April 5th or March? That's none of our business. Stop trying to provoke us, black people. I'm sitting my ass down. The ancestors said, mind your business. That's not your business. They playing with y'all. They up there trying to provoke you. Because white people and Mexicans need help. Because their protests are going unfounded and not paid attention to. So they need our melanin to create their protests. We don't give a fuck. We just know we got to rebuild ourselves. Elon is overstimulating. He's overstimulated and he's stimming. He's crashing the fuck out. I'm like, Lord. Trump then sat up and made this losing ass attorney. What's her name? Alina Habba. And people say she can't win shit and she lost all his cases and she gets her shit thrown out and she tried to talk tough in front of I guess they made her some kind of interim attorney or whatever. I don't know. Her husband is some kind of businessman that runs and manages a company for parking garages. But they saying she loses more cases than what she wins. She's from New Jersey, and she's really focused on changing the scope of New Jersey. That connects back to them drones and shit. And somebody brought up New York, what's that? New Jersey Drive. And she wants to do this, she wants to do that, she wants to do this. She's another actress like that Crockett black lady. I said, who in the fuck is teaching these people how to act? Yeah, they say she's horrible. And she lost so many cases that they didn't understand why Trump even want to deal with her. She lost his case. They out here tripping because at that Mar-a-Lago's, he's having a cyber party. You know, like the Rothschilds and all that stuff, that Masonic shit. This is the new form. I said, I'm not believing that shit. It cracks me up how they always connect everything to Satan. Satan is not Samuel Merlagos, Beelzebub. That's not Satan. That's not Lucifer. And that's not the devil. Those are just minions and entities and deities. You'll soon find out all those demons that they said, hey, she's a demon. You'll find out later there's a different truth to that. But this Alana, how about, I think she's Middle Eastern, isn't she? She's overstimulated like Elon. She was overstimulated. I'm still waiting to see what they're gonna talk about with J.D. Vance coming out. Because I still think his father's John Wayne Gacy. And his wife was over there in Greenland. They don't want her ass there. They said, get your ass out of here. But I have a question. Is Trump on house arrest? How come he doesn't travel? Am I tripping? Notice his sons travel. J.D. Vance is going places, but what's going on with him? Is this not him? What's happening? Is he on house arrest? Because again, I know he's Elon's payee. We just asking questions. They over here playing. Tiger Woods then sat up and took his son's wife. White women are coming out saying they have AIDS and been having AIDS, and a lot of them are military women. They don't want to talk about how the Vietnam War fucked up the whole black family because it brought in AIDS, HIV, crack cocaine, and all of that, and hypersexuality, and dealing with bestiality and psychosis. They don't want to talk about how they took a lot of the black Vietnam vets and put them in asylums just to analyze them because they had them in little holes and this and that. They don't want to talk about the whole sexual frequency that was going to fucked up the black family. And when they came back, that's when boom, the black exploitation movies and the disrespect towards the black woman came about. For real, for real. They don't want to talk about the primates and shit that was going on sexually from Thailand to Vietnam to Bali. Look that shit up. Them having sex with primates. Then you wondering why they was up there allegedly saying that the first frequency came from Bali in Thailand. And then they tried to play us on Africa. It was some truth to it, but it didn't come from Africa. But they don't want to talk about how the Vietnam War was established to kill the rock star, the black man, which it did. To go back to that damn Jonathan Major movies, is it not Tukey? Who is that? Is it Tukey? The one, the Crip, and he was a bodybuilder, correct me? And they said that he used to do PCP to build up his body because it would have him he was high and he was able to work out all day. Y'all talk about steroids. Let's talk about that Crip. What was he, in St. Quentin? Where was he? Y'all, please correct me. But they was talking about that. Let's talk about crystal meth was introduced in Vietnam. Right? Aren't we tired of Michelle Obama and them damn 3 balls she have in her head? Ooh, the gay people, not gay people, the trans community. No, I'm gonna call it what they told me. Stop fucking around and playing with these drag queens. Because they're telling on Tyler Perry. They're telling on the conscious community. They're doing blind items. Well, I'm saying it's a blind items. They upset because Tyler Perry allegedly was supposed to, I'm just saying what they saying. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the drag queens. I'm just reporting their news. They are upset. They're going to come out with more information in reference to Clive Davis and what that note said with Whitney Houston. They're accusing Tyler Perry of sacrificing Angie Stone and Whitney Houston. They was talking about he doesn't write shit. They're saying that his ass can't read. He don't write any of them plays or movies. Allegedly, I'm just saying what the drag queens talking about. They talking about that his ass was supposed to fly them out to New York because they sick and tired of him barely paying for their gas for them to drive from Louisiana to Atlanta. They were upset to see a conscious community person up in that room, humping and pumping, allegedly. I'm just saying what the drag queens talking about. They saying movies are being financed, documentaries being financed. They saying the same person all of a sudden end up in Atlanta, up in his studio. They saying they tired. You not gonna keep taking their money. They said they tired of Boosie knowing he was up in that warehouse allegedly and know something about what happened to Caleb. And that's why, who is it? The general, attorney general, whoever that is. What's her name? Mary, let me see. I want to get it right. I'm just looking at the energies, y'all. Don't get mad at me. The drag queens are upset. Hey, did you hear about the former U.S. Attorney Jessica Aber, how she was a dead, how they got her? And then the next thing you know, Mia Love, the first black Republican, she dies? That's some energies. Are you hearing about inmate infected the female prison warden with HIV after secret affair? Where am I looking? Boosie revealed during a recent interview that he is launching a scholarship foundation for Caleb, right? And there's an energy that they're saying that Caleb, his family is threatening legal action, right? Well, let's see here. Is it Moral? Did y'all hear about that? What is that? The Black Authority, they saying his ass is an abuser. He was up there, he beat the fuck out of women. The Black Authority, allegedly. I'm just looking at what it says. Did y'all hear about the accused rapist on LSU campus sexually assaulting black women? Did you hear about that one? Dang, can't find it. Oh, here it is. Okay, so The Attorney General of Louisiana, Liz Morrill, said the Wilson family don't want him to be involved because I know he had a bash and all that with Kayla, but they're saying there's two different frequencies. They said the mother and father are not together, and the father originally gave permission for Boosie to do the scholarship and everything, but in the world they're saying Boosie's get down, allegedly. I don't know him, but they saying that warehouse shit, reevaluate it. Reevaluate the scholarship. Always reevaluate when these people want to do all these things for these people. What is the connection? And they were saying that attorney general chick or whatever is already upset that Boosie beat his case and keep beating his case. And people are talking about him, saying he's interesting in Atlanta. And I'll just let y'all pick it up where it is. Interesting with the Mexicans and so on. But they saying that warehouse shit, to reevaluate what that is. And they're saying the conscious community be involved in a whole lot of shit, and you better reevaluate all that trans and prostitution shit that jumped off, especially the real estate scheme of how they all became agents and then have all this Section 8 and fucking around with Section 8 and doing all this shit with Section 8 and all this shit. This is coming from their world. Okay? Is on the same lines as those twin brothers. You heard about the little girl, I think in Ohio, her father chopped off her hands and murdered her, and the grandmother they feel was involved in that shit. Then the other young lady in Chicago, she got sacrificed in the fucking park. You see what I'm talking about? What's happening. But if I go back to that Caleb energy, I'm telling you, and everybody who's seen the video, and it's being people seeing the video, and they're saying them guys who were arrested were not in it, and the drag queens are busted now. Boosie allegedly, they mad at Kanye West, huh? Because he done sat up and said that Jay-Z kids are retarded. Well, first of all, you got to reevaluate Jay-Z. Jay-Z is that popular kid in special ed. You can't tell by his face there's something up. I mentioned that to somebody. They pointed out Puff Daddy. I said, yep. I said, and doesn't Toni Braxton look like she has Down syndrome? And then she tapped back at me and said, dude, how about Jaheim? I said, ooh. White people just put it out there. I have Down syndrome and autism, and I'm still going to live. Black people try to hide that shit. They be all of them on them IEPs. And we don't know it. Or from a psych ward. Wasn't there a Simpsons when... was that? Was that Simpsons and he was singing like Barry White and he was in a psych ward? Do you know how many people in a psych ward can sing their asses off? No, we need to start telling the truth and stop with all this shit because they don't want us to tell the truth about ourselves. I was looking at Jay-Z real closely. And I'm like, ooh, wait a minute. Is that why that story came out about Marvin Gaye being a serial killer? Allegedly? We just talking black people because we already know what's going on with white folks. I'm saying black people and their hypersexual behavior. violence and volatile. It's like they tricked us. It's like I was telling somebody, I said, I don't understand how an Aries became the volatile astrology. They are destructive to themselves and will become destructive to you because they are destructive to themselves. But you see, like Omarion, who was cutting up in concert, and he's supposed to be a Scorpio. No, a Scorpio because of everybody and beat everybody ass and fuck up everything and just cut up. I said, how did we forget about that? How did we forget about their behavior? They're violent to you, me, him, and the dog. How did we forget about Scorpios? See how they fuck with the whole horoscope and personality traits? I know for a fact on some parts Aries have edit. They don't show up places to fight. They're messy as fuck, but they don't start the fight. But a Scorpio will. We just talk about astrology and frequencies, right? We out here missing that these entertainers that they're putting in front of our faces that you guys want to be and act like, asylum, IEP, psych wards, volatile, hypersexual. What was that? Remember that panda dude, that designer? And they was talking about how he is so hypersexual and he's a sexual deviant. That's why I was talking about Elon. I think there's so much they can do with these people, but at some point they kind of jump out of it and then they got to get them back under. I don't know if it's a medicine. I don't know if was it lithium. We already know the difference between the FBI and CIA, and the CIA has a for real energy of psychological analyzing and putting people under. Where FBI is more like a profile, like a for real profile. We're going to profile who you are. So I'm being profiled just for me to go into the CIA and them put you under a different frequency. They profile you. You're this, you're that, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. Then they figure you out. And then create a new energy. And hope the medicines or something works. Lobotomy, who knows? They already sock you up in your eye to read you. Lobotomy. They studied all of us. That's why we are, social media is a special ed class. You niggas on Instagram, you on TikTok, you're in a special ed class. That's the way they're dealing with us. They went and studied special ed and black people and putting them in special ed among for real special people. I had a friend that I thought she was normal. I told my spiritual constituents about this story. I thought she was normal. I hadn't seen her in years. I haven't seen her since elementary. I'm talking to her. She was at my cousin's house. This was Army Street Projects. And she lived down the street from my cousin. I mean, down the hall. I'm talking. I was like, hey, what's up? What's going on? I haven't seen you in years. Oh my God. And she was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm just a church girl. I go to church. I said, for real, what you do? This and that. Yes, I just came back from Israel, and I'm in a lesson real quick. What? Give me 5 minutes. Yeah, we're not listening to video. And I'm up there, and she was talking about where, she went to Israel and all this stuff, right? I said, yeah, I want to go, this and that. Oh my gosh. She was like, yes, it was beautiful, this and that, right? When she left, my cousin, who's the Leo, was like, do you believe her? I said, what? I said, I want to do that. Oh my God, this was my Christian days. Yes. 2 weeks later, I was always going to my cousin, and my cousin said, you know your friend that was here? I said, yeah. She was screaming down the hallway, and 5150 was called for her, and we were looking outside the window, and they had her in the dang, what they call those, the jacket? I said, what? She said, you said that girl was normal. Then I said, am I crazy? My cousin was cracking up. She said she was cutting up. That's what we're dealing with. This is what we're fucking dealing with. Social media, Black people, we're all in special ed. It's time for us to do better and get the fuck up out of special ed and Black excellence and get under some different energies. Anyway, this is Weird Renegade Witches Blog. It is up when you want some real motherfucking work done.